Consumers Doctor, on the behalf of foremost organizations, continues to strive for healthcare coverage for all Americans. That's our goal. Irrespective of who is in Washington, I think the Democrats sincerely want to try healthcare coverage for all Americans, especially the disadvantaged. I can understand, I can empathize. So there are several ways to achieve that, folks. This is a personalized healthcare segment, so-called consumer-driven healthcare, customer-driven healthcare, and the technology is, I think, one good thing it has done. The COVID pandemic has brought the technology to the forefront, folks. This will change the dynamics, how we provide the healthcare for all Americans. People who choose not to get the health insurance, there are consequences, folks. There are consequences. If people don't, if they can buy it but they won't get the insurance coverage, they lose the exemptions from these state and federal filings. So that way, it is a responsibility of every American to have the health insurance coverage. That will be a permanent solution for people who can't or who won't buy health insurance. So let's address how we can achieve this so-called consumer-driven, customer-driven healthcare. Today, the technology is right in your mobile phone. Mobile technology has changed the dynamics. You can have telehealth, telemedicine. You can reach your doctor right on your mobile phone, folks. How do we empower the Americans to have the health? All America, I'm not specifically saying only few, but all America. How do we achieve that goal? I think Democrats are sincerely trying to achieve that goal. How do we achieve? Well, the individual, I'll give you the scenarios how we can achieve that. Individual certificate of guaranteed coverage empowers, guarantees everyone the individual health insurance, even if they have pre existing conditions or in need of a financial assistance. People can't afford to buy health insurance. They will get the certificate of guarantees. Segmenting the uninsured individuals to the premium subsidized impaired health support plans can lower everybody's premium by 15 to 20%, folks. I'm not kidding. It lowers the premium for all Americans by 15 to 20%. So why not we do it? Why can't we do that so everybody will be covered? Suppose if you identify yourself as someone wanting to buy individual insurance, I'm sure everybody wants to buy individual in that. So when you apply for insurance companies, insurers reject you. Insurance companies out there, they reject you for whatever the reason may be. Then what you could do is, as an individual, if they're rejected by individual health insurance company, you can challenge it. You can challenge it. The underwriting decisions with a health review authority, folks. Health review authority doesn't cost the government a penny. Doesn't cost the government a penny. It's a public-private partnership, folks. It is a public-private partnership. I'm sure the Democrats will love to see that, because as long as it doesn't cost the government, it will be ideal for everyone. This health review authority has the power to give a certificate of guaranteed coverage. They do have the power. They are under the public-private partnership. I will show you how this health review authority works. The health review authority, they can take three potential actions. They have authority to take three potential actions. Very first, if the applicant is determined upon the review by the health review authority to be insurable, will be given a certificate of guaranteed coverage, folks. There's no ifs or buts. They will be given certificate of guaranteed coverage to secure affordable coverage at the rates appropriate to his or her health status and history. Yes, they will be given coverage because that's the health review authority can do that. They can give you a certificate of guaranteed coverage. Once the individual gets the certificate of guaranteed coverage, he can take it to any insurer who are participating. Obviously, they have to be participating insurer. Not just the original rejected insurer. You can go to any insurer and the premiums will be at a standard rate with a premium rationing, so-called rationing in the sense it should not exceed 10% over the standard premiums. Insurers have no other choice to give them the certificate of guaranteed coverage, but they should not charge the insurer more than 10% of the premiums. 10% of the premiums. So what will happen is it will be once it was given a certificate of guarantee, health review authority's responsibility is to enforce not to insurance companies to exceed 10% of the standard premium. And they have the authority to do so. Yes. Participating insurer must participate, must accept certificate of guaranteed coverage equal to the number of individual applicants they previously rejected. For whatever the reason, if they previously did, they have to accept it. The insurers have to accept it. As I said again, premium should not be over 10% of the standard. Carriers, insurance companies rejecting relatively good risks might find they are required to accept the much worse risk. So by balancing the application process, in this way, carriers will begin to accept more applicants and industry underwriting standards will be voluntarily moderated in the favor of the consumer. This is important, folks. By balancing the application process, insurers will begin to accept more applicants and the industry underwriting standards will voluntarily be moderated in favor of you, folks, in favor of you. So insurers and insurance companies' behavior will change. Obviously, there are consequences if an applicant is eligible and it is rejected for some weird reason, there are consequences, folks. So obviously it will be moderated by the health review authority. Believe me, it will happen. Let's see the second scenario. If an individual if the health review authority decides, if the individual, this is the second cause of action by the Health Review Board. If the Health Review Authority determines the individual deemed to be insurable but in need of financial assistance. This is the beauty, folks. In need of a financial assistance as determined by the federal law to premiums, to pay premiums, will be given access to premium subsidized state and federal health insurance exchanges. This is the beauty. They will get a premium subsidized coverage under the federal and state subsidized exchanges, folks. So they will be given coverage. Even they have a pre-existing illness, they will be covered. This is the second scenario. So Health Review Authority is an intermediary organization, and it works in favor of Americans, in favor of the consumers, and it doesn't cost the government a penny. That's the beauty about this public-private partnership, folks. It is a public-private partnership that will go a long way. What is the third option? We may ask. What is the third one? Eligible individuals. If the Health Review Authority looks at eligible individuals determined to be uninsurable are given an access to impaired health support plans. Once impaired health support plan is selected, insurers are no longer obligated. Insurance companies are no longer obligated to offer coverage to that applicant because insurers will be guaranteed the payment by the federal and state exchanges, so-called from the impaired health support plans, which is set up by the federal and state health agencies, impaired health agencies. As you can see, certificate of guaranteed coverage to anyone wanting individual insurance coverage is guaranteed. A plan, even if they have a pre-existing condition or even if they're in need of a financial assistance. This is the beauty, folks. I would like to see Democrats embrace this public-private partner. This is good for all Americans, folks. This is the way to go. Again, I had no qualms with Obamacare, but they never looked into segmenting the risk. The actuarials have looked at it. They need to segment the risk into categories. As I said earlier, there is a well category, which is like you're talking about 68% of the Americans are in well category. And their claims are only 12%, folks. Why can't we give the best health care? Consumers can choose the premium basing on their affordability across the state lines so they can lower their premium. So well category should be able to have a deductible so-called health disclosure health plan for mere, I'm talking about $158 to $200 a month, but they will qualify whatever the money they save to put money aside into personal care accounts. So that way they won't be paying taxes. This is for people who are in the lower income bracket. That helps them a lot to keep money aside. That will also gives them personal responsibility to Americans to take care of their health. That will reinforce Americans to take care of their health. That is a beauty, folks. That is a beauty. We can't ignore that fact. All Americans can take care of them. Once they know they have the money aside in their personal care accounts, they would be watching out not to spend their own money for the healthcare. They will take care of themselves. Their behaviors will change, folks. So this is a well category. The second one is at risk category. This is another one which is really important. At risk, there are only, I would say, 15% of the Americans are at risk. Their claims are 20%, folks. So the premiums should be based on on this category, at risk. Who are these at risk? People who get acute illnesses. For acute illnesses like smoker getting pneumonia, hypertension causing stroke, diabetes causing infection. These are at risk folks, and the premium should be focused on this group. And we need to be proactive, give them the, like what we have, this lessons how to take care of themselves. If they participate in educating themselves, taking care of themselves, smoke cessation classes, drug addiction, how to stop the drug addict, how to prevent, you know, hypertension complicate, how to take care of diabetes. If they participate in those classes, their premiums should be discounted by another 10%, folks. That's the beauty about having at-risk category, and your premiums should not be, even if it costs, it may be slightly higher than the well category folks, but if they do take classes, their premium should be affordable. That's the beauty of at-risk category. This is the second. Third one, third category. This is where most of the problems are. Chronic illness category, folks. Chronic illness, 16 to 18% of the Americans have chronic illnesses. That includes the people who don't have, this includes even uninsured, like uninsured people who, if they don't buy they come into this cat. If they're uninsured, they come in, their premiums will be based on this category. If people don't buy the insurance for whatever the reason may be, but the beauty about these patients with people in this chronic illness, they will be given affordable premiums. The health review authority will guarantee their coverage. That's the beauty. People who are economically impaired, they can't afford health insurance, they should get a certificate of guaranteed coverage. An individual can take the certificate of guaranteed coverage, go to the insurers. Insurers have no other option but to provide them, because insurers are no longer responsible for their healthcare expenses. So insurers will provide the coverage, and health review authority will pay the costs for these people in the chronic illness category. And these are the people, because the claims from this category, folks, is half of the claims. All the claims, I'm talking about 48% of the claims are from chronic illness. And even for these people in this category, premiums can be lowered. This is where we all have to work on. If people don't buy health insurance, they come into this category, their premiums are a little higher. But if they don't voluntarily buy the health insurance, even though they could afford to buy it, they lose the exemptions. There are consequences. They lose the exemptions for personal and family exemptions. So the government can collect more revenue from the state and federal. Folks, this is where the funding comes from to these folks, from the to the impaired health support groups. And that will solve the health crisis, folks. And it could be. This is only the financing part I'm talking about, but on the health care aspect, that's a different topic. We can talk about how to reduce it. But once you give the consumers, bring them to the front line, folks, they demand. They demand transparency. Consumers will always demand affordability, transparency, and access to the tools so they can pay. So they don't want to be stuck with not paying. So even the payments need to be restructured in such a way that they have to be paid right away as soon as they receive the care. The technology is there, folks. We need to use the technology in our favor. The last but not the least is catastrophic coverage. Let consumers choose till what time period they want to buy a catastrophic coverage, so they have to get the catastrophic. If they're exposed to a catastrophic illness or anything, they need to get coverage for a limited or extended period of time, basing on the need. So consumers are smart enough to choose what they want. This is called personalized healthcare, folks. Consumer driven healthcare. You can get your healthcare through your mobile phone. This is beauty. You don't need to be waiting in the lobby. You shouldn't be waiting in the waiting rooms. You should get the coverage as you require it, because everybody will be available to use the health care. Access becomes a lot easier, folks, a lot easier. Well, I hope, I hope I've given my message. This is irrespective of, you know, irrespective of where you stand as an American. This is for everybody, folks. This topic is for all Americans. Americans are smart enough to take care of themselves. Give them the power, give them the tools. I wish people who cannot buy health insurance, I wish the government can assist in setting up personal care accounts. Give them the $6,000 to initiate personal care account. I think it'll go a long way. People who cannot buy health insurance, give them a tool to have a personal care accounts for all Americans if they can't afford it. So that's the government's responsibility to provide the healthcare access where consumers are in the front line, folks. I think all Americans like would love to see a freedom in healthcare from every aspect, from the providers, from the insurers, from everybody. They want to be free. They want to choose. They can make a wise decision in taking care of themselves. Right now, Americans are lost when it comes to healthcare, folks. This is so critical. Let's let's address that, solve it without any emotions. Let's come to an understand where healthcare is dysfunctional. We need to address it. We want America to be number one in healthcare. How do we do that? Is the consumer can do that. Consumer is always right, folks. When it comes to anything, consumer is always right and he always wins. Wait and see. I can promise you that. When you give it to the consumers, you will get it right. Irrespective of you're a Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter anymore. But give the tools to the consumers, folks. Give the tools. Give that $6,000 into their personal care accounts. I'm sure everybody would love to have some assistance in setting up personal care accounts. Guys, I love you. If you like this channel, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. I'll continue to bombard this personalized healthcare, consumer driven healthcare, customer driven healthcare on Google MD Live, Microsoft MD Live, Facebook MD Live, Instagram MD Live. Yes, you have access to healthcare right in your hand, folks. Give the power back to you. Thank you for listening. We will see you in the next segment. Salute.